Jens, how do you assess the challenge that you face on Saturday?
A big one and a very exciting one. We have some good memories from playing Hearts this season. Also some memories that we want to try and change from when we have played them next time. Hopefully we'll have even better memories from the full game at Tynecastle, but a tough opponent that has they've had a fantastic season, and like us, even though that we haven't just been able to wipe all resistance off the board the last couple of weeks. When we look in the big perspective, both clubs are in a position that they could only dream of before the season started. At this point of the season, so I'm pretty sure that they, as we will come with a big smile on their face, really excited to play that game, and expect it to be probably a little bit more lively and open at times than the last game against them here were. Which was a bit tactical. Two teams good at closing each other down. A very, very close call that stopped us from getting a goal, and maybe look a little bit more at times like the first game or something in between. Time will tell, but probably with a very intense atmosphere again.
When your team has done so well this season and received a lot of praise, how important do you feel it is to get the results turning the right way again, just to try and get a platform to build from going into the split in the last few games?
No, of course it's important. Like every game matters, and that's why we are doing our best every game to get the maximum out of it, even though we don't necessarily succeed every time. But it's extremely important, and we, as anyone else, we want to finish strong because there's so much more to chase. At this stage of the season. Plus, it's an extremely important phase for growth and development. How we, as a club our size, deal with being in this position at this time of the league, really fighting for big things.
When you look at your track record this season of how you've performed against Hearts and Celtic and Rangers, the teams above you, does that bring a sense of pride, the way that you've managed to go toe to toe and gone into games where you've managed to dominate the ball against some of these teams?
Yeah, look. Obviously, we have been happy with some of the performances, but we can also see where we have to be even better. There has been a lot of decisive moments in all these games, and I think we could have used some of those moments even better in both ends of the pitch. And had we done that, then we might have been in an even better position now, and that's what we are trying to do, because we know that now we are playing the best, and the best teams, they don't necessarily need to dominate every game and be totally on top in all phases, but they need because they have the players who in a flash can decide a football game, and we need to prove also throughout the last part here that we are able to do the same.
Some people like to make a bit of a fuss about the post-split fixtures and the way they're configured. Are you just quite happy with how they're set out and glad you know exactly what it looks like between now and the end of the season?
I've heard that. I've had a lot of questions. What do you think about the fixtures? I think nothing. I'm just happy that we're here, and it's not like we have a lot to compare to, or at least I have. I can say it was a lot better last year or the year before. Well, everyone needs to play everyone, right? I think it ends with us having 19 home games, 19 away games, so we can't really complain about anything. We just have to deal with it and get on with it. And now at least we can plan the days around it and in between, which is perfect, and we're just excited about it.
Yeah, and you weren't happy with some of the officiating last weekend. Did you raise that with Willie Collum? If so, has there been any dialogue with the SFA?
Yeah, look, as usual, I try to, when I come in on Monday, to spend my energy on moving forward, going forward with the players. So I really don't like sitting in the office talking to Willie Collum on the Monday or the Tuesday. I let that up to Brian and sometimes the media department, but mainly Brian, to have that contact, and there has been some contact. I haven't really dug that much into it. I'm of the same opinion that some situations were not dealt with well enough, in my opinion. But we have to leave it behind us, and we have to, as I said before, try to be good enough that we don't need these 50 situations to go our way when we play the tight games, because we haven't had it yet, and that just means we can't expect that to happen in the last in the last part of the season. So that's it. And then obviously everyone, us clubs, academies, the SFA, SPFL. I think everyone is here to try and improve the level of Scottish football for the better of everyone. So we will get even better when we have to compete internationally, that we get even more big talents out playing at a higher level even earlier. And we try to do our job here, and I'm sure that they are also looking, the ones who need to look at that and teach the refereeing that they are doing the same. That's what I hear. That's what I hear, and
Sure.
And there's a good open dialogue about it, and
Yeah.
honest. But mistakes happen, and unfortunately, last week we felt that it didn't go our way, but we have to let it go and move on.
If I may, just a follow-up on that. You say mistakes happen, there's been some sort of contact. Has there been an acceptance that the decision not to award Massamanisi a penalty and potentially a red card was an incorrect one?
I don't know, to be honest. I haven't followed up on that because I have to try and leave it. Look, that's also why I don't expect Willie Collum to, if I call him on the Monday or the Tuesday and say, look, I think that was a penalty, and he says, yeah, maybe it was, so I'll give it to you now, or I'll give it to you next week. So there's no point in me dragging that with me into the next game, both emotionally and just spending energy on it. There's more important things that can affect the next game than that, I can assure you. So I don't know, to be honest.
What do you need to do to get out, not this rut, but the last few games? What hasn't happened that you want to see happen in the final push?
Obviously, there's some emotional things that we need to deal with better if we start the game a little bit on our back foot. Then there are some tactical, like small things, some decision making in terms of the solutions we have, where we can take some better choices. And then obviously we need to take the chances also when we have them. So it's a lot about still doing what we do, trying to sharpen our principles and details up. And when we get in the decisive moments, then we need to just raise our individual level in terms of that. So that's obviously training. And then it's also the confidence we give to each other, how we communicate with each other, that we don't start pointing fingers, but that we set demands, and that we still try to build that trust in each other and also within ourselves, that we are here for a reason, and that the sharpest version of us is right there for us to put out, and we need to take the responsibility, every one of us. And then obviously if someone needs a hand to get something even better out of him, then we encourage him to ask for that help.
Should you maybe expect a more open game than it was previously here? In terms of Hearts, a slip up for them at the weekend again against Livingston. They're not in best way form. What sort of Hearts team do you think you're going to face?
I expect to face a team that is, as they have been all season, a team that's extremely intense, extremely good at loading the box and getting balls in there one way or the other. they are really, really good at gambling and chasing the odds in there by really just running towards goal, getting stuck in the duels, making sure that the balls, if they cross in balls, they don't get cleared too far away, and then they're good at getting numbers in there. Really good on set plays. Physically, if it becomes a physical game with only duels and second balls, they're very, very strong. And then they have plenty of individual quality to, even on a day where they're not at their very best, they can still hurt any opponent. And we need to, as I said, find our best level. We need to be extremely sharp when they get up on our final third, in terms of when the ball is traveling in the air, to be on the way, to be extremely tight. They don't need a lot of space in the box, and then we need to hurt them when we have the ball. Both when we have normal possession spells, we need to be extremely brave, bring the same bravery and quality like we did up there for a long, big spell of the game, and then also when the game opens up a little bit back and forward, we need to hurt them on transitions as well.
I'm wondering, Jens, you've got 6 games to go. Have you any idea of a kind of points target you would need to finish fourth? Have you thought about that at all?
No, because when you start doing that, then you start to get ahead of yourself. And then you start suddenly thinking, well, if we just do this and just do that, then we'll be fine. So that's probably the worst thing you can do as a group of players, a manager, where you can only play one game at a time. So the last thing you want to think and speculate about, if this happens and that happens, and then we need that and that. I don't think anyone from the top will win all their games. That's looking at the history, unlikely. If they do, they will have a very good chance of, especially the top 3, of winning the title. I do expect us to need more points than we have now to at least keep this position. How many? Time will tell. But I can assure you that no matter how many points a smarter guy than me would figure out that we need, that we will go for all 3 all the time. I think we did that the last time when the game was tipping, and also here against Hibs, we were here to win the game, and we will do the same against Hearts on Saturday. Really, really try to push for the win, because we miss winning. We want to win every game we compete in, and we know that every time we do, it's obviously a massive step towards achieving something big.
That being said, my next question, I probably know the answer, but I was reading a lot in the newspapers this morning about you talking about planning ahead. So I was just wondering if plans are already in place for a European campaign next season, or
No.
is that something you would encounter?
No, but so obviously there are a lot of clubs in both ends. They need to plan for multiple scenarios. Some clubs need to plan for different European scenarios. Some need to plan for, could we be in Europe? Maybe we're not. Some clubs need to plan for being in the Premiership, being in the Championship, both financially and practically, and when the season starts. So obviously, like we on the Saturday, or leading up to Saturday, we need to plan for, well, Hearts, they might go 4-4-2, but they might also go 5-3-2, right? They might play the ball over the top, but they might also try to play the ball through the center. So that's what we do. We plan, and then so we're not surprised. And obviously I think it was more meant for us that while we are stuck in performing right now, and you always have to have that focus, then we all at the same time you have to look at what will benefit the club on the long term. Investing in infrastructure, facilities, not spending all your money on the head of media, even though he is one of the best and worth every penny. But still making sure that we reinvest in what we need right now to lift the first team, short term, but also so we have some really good facilities to show, and we recruit people on for the academy to grow in, and for us to bridge some of the gap that maybe we might not be able to bridge, the financial gap wage-wise with the clubs we are competing against now. But there are some, in terms of infrastructure and facility, that we need to try and bridge that gap, so we become even more competitive in that as well.
That brings us
That was a very long answer to
that's
a very specific question.
The plans for the training ground next, so obviously that's something.
Yeah, look, it's not.
I wonder how much input you had into that.
No, a lot. I've been very involved in that process from the day I started, and I heard about it the first, like when we discussed. I'm not gonna shed a lot of light on it now, because it's not really for me to kind of put that out. But obviously it's out there. But I have been very involved in that as well, and it's been an extremely exciting process to be part of now. It's kind of out of my hands now, and people who are better educated at dealing with the process where it is now are working extremely hard on that, and it's one of the exciting things to come for this club that is also happening.
Jens, it's obviously your first experience with the Premiership split. It's quite an interesting format, all these big teams playing for the top positions. I was just wondering what your thoughts are on that format.
No, I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. It gives the opportunity for the teams who both can show it by where the league stands after 33 rounds, that they belong there. But I also feel that it is the strongest 6 teams in the league this season who are up there, and a really good opportunity to just go head to head in some really interesting games for everyone. And I like the fact that it's a very late split. Where I come from in Denmark, you have also 12-team league, but it splits already after 22 rounds, which is very early in the season. And if you get a bad start of the season, bad first 8-10 games, then you're under extreme pressure to get there. So it can be very hectic, a lot of pressure on the teams and inside the clubs, but also externally. They start talking about who are you going to make the split or not already after 6, 7, 8 games. And it just, like, after 8 games this season, Falkirk were 8th, we were 9th. But both teams felt we were in a good spell and a good phase of development, and were confident that we would grow through the season. And both teams have just picked up more and more points along the way, and had plenty of time to get there. So I like the fact that you get enough time to develop the team and to grow into that split.
Yeah, it's obviously. Sorry, you were going to ask that? Okay.
Yeah, just from your own position, obviously Hibs are just 3 points behind now, but is it more fair in a sense that you'll get the opportunity to play them again and all these other big teams? You're all going to play the same opponents towards the end of the season. Will that more fairly reflect who has been one of the best sides in the league this season?
Well, the structure is like that every team plays 38 games. Now we are up there where we get to play the best. And I think you can't really deem that unfair how the structure is. I won't blame the structure if we don't make where we would like to be. That's up to us to make sure, like everyone else, that we end in that league position that we all strive for and hope for. And then time will tell where that will be.
In terms of your team news, is Aitor available to do this?
We'll check Aitor tomorrow. He had a little thing just before the game, weren't ready for the last game, and we've been pushing to get him ready for the game Saturday. It's going in the right direction, but we'll make a final call tomorrow. Gordo is back in full training, and Callum Hendry back in full training. Johnny is progressing well, and Cookie will be training from next week. So that's some really positive news that we are getting players back fit.
Callum Hendry have the chance of being in the squad at this stage, or is it too?
Everyone who's training right now has a chance of being in the squad. So yes.
Yeah, and you obviously look after Motherwell's interests first, but given the setup of the post-split, I mean, is it a big thing for you and your players that you could have a big say in terms of which team does or doesn't win the Premiership?
No,
No.
no. Look, I know it's a big thing for everyone else, but when I started here this summer, I don't remember any discussions about who would we like to win the league if we end up having a say towards the end. It's not a theme. I don't care. At the end of the day, the team who will win will deserve it because they've gotten the most points in the league over 38 games. So we try to decide our own fate, and if there are some casualties along the way who don't get enough points against us, well, that's also been in round 3. There was also probably the points where to get there. So we can't really be concerned about that.
Just going back to the game at Tynecastle, was it almost like a freak game, that one? And it's rare that a team goes 3 up and then draws 3-3.
Well, it happens in football now and then. Also among the best. I remember some of the best games I've watched when I was younger. 3-3 games, or even games where one team were 4-0 up, and then it happens in football. We just have to make sure that if we have a good comfortable lead towards the end of the game, which would be a massive thing for us, if that happens, then obviously we have to attack that last part of the game smarter and emotionally stronger and better than we did the first time, and I hope and think we will.